Samantha sat across from Victoria, her soon-to-be mother-in-law, in an upscale cafe. The tension was thick, but Victoria's cold demeanor didn't waver as she slid a check across the table. $500,000, Victoria said in a measured tone. Take this and leave my son. Samantha, who was never one to shy away from a challenge, glanced at the check before pushing it back across the table. I'll give you $500,000, she said calmly, if you leave your son. Victoria's face stiffened in shock. For the first time, someone had dared to challenge her authority, and it was this woman, Samantha. The wedding was a grand spectacle. The Montgomery estate had been transformed into a dream, with crystal chandeliers and rows of flowers lining the halls. Despite the glamour, a silent battle loomed between Samantha and Victoria. During the traditional tea ceremony, Samantha knelt before Victoria, offering her a cup of tea. "Mom," she said sincerely, "I promise to treat you like my own mother." Victoria hesitated as she took the cup. "We'll see if you keep that promise," she muttered quietly, her eyes betraying the icy front she had maintained all day. The words stung, but Samantha didn't flinch. She had a feeling that this was only the beginning of a long, difficult road with her new mother-in-law. Shortly after the wedding, Samantha and Daniel were preparing for their honeymoon. In the chaos of packing, Samantha realized she had forgotten to pack sunscreen. Daniel suggested she ask his mother, as Victoria always had extras. Samantha hesitated, but eventually went to Victoria's room. As she reached the door, she heard Victoria's muffled voice talking on the phone. "She's a lot sharper than I thought," Victoria said softly. "I don't know if I can keep up with her." Her friend's voice crackled through the speaker. "You need to stay on top. Vic, don't let her push you aside." Samantha's heart sank. Despite Victoria's cold exterior, there was insecurity underneath. She wasn't a villain, just a mother worried about being pushed out. As Samantha settled into married life, tensions began bubbling beneath the surface. One afternoon, while getting ready for a charity gala, she borrowed a luxury handbag from Victoria's closet, thinking nothing of it. However, the next morning, Victoria stormed into the living room, her face flushed with anger. "How dare you take my things without asking?" Victoria shouted, her voice trembling. "Do you think you can just take over everything because you married my son?" Samantha, caught off guard, tried to calm her down. "I didn't think you'd mind. I thought we were getting along better." Victoria wasn't having it. "You thought wrong. First, you challenged me with that ridiculous check, then you act like you belong in my house. Now you're helping yourself to my things?" Samantha's heart raced. "I'm not trying to replace you, Victoria." "Oh, but you are," Victoria shot back. "You've already taken Daniel's attention, and now you're taking everything else." Samantha's mouth went dry. She had been trying so hard to fit in, to be accepted, but Victoria saw her as nothing more than a threat. Victoria stormed out, packing her things. That night, she left to stay with a friend, leaving a stunned Daniel and Samantha in her wake. Caught in the middle, Daniel tried to smooth things over, but the tension between his wife and mother left him exhausted. "Sam, you need to try harder," he said one evening, his voice tired. "She's my mom. I can't lose her." Samantha, hurt but trying to understand, replied, "I've done everything I can. She doesn't want me here." Daniel sighed. "I know, but she's afraid of losing her place in my life. You need to give her time." Samantha wanted to scream. She wasn't the one causing the problems. Victoria was. But for Daniel's sake, she agreed to be patient, even though it felt like she was fighting an uphill battle. Weeks passed, and the family's strained peace finally shattered during a formal dinner. Everything seemed to be going well until Victoria, halfway through dessert, collapsed, clutching her chest. Panic erupted around the table. Daniel called for an ambulance, while Samantha knelt by Victoria's side, her hands trembling. "Mom," she whispered urgently, "stay with us." Victoria's eyes fluttered open, her voice weak. I didn't want this. I didn't want to drive you away." Samantha squeezed her hand, feeling her own eyes fill with tears. "You haven't. I'm not going anywhere. We're family." It was a small moment, but in that shared vulnerability, the animosity between them began to crumble. For the first time, both women realized they had been fighting the same battle, afraid of losing their place in Daniel's life. That Victoria's health scare was minor, but it served as a turning point. After her recovery, she and Samantha finally sat down for a long overdue conversation. "I thought I was losing him," Victoria admitted, her hands trembling slightly as she spoke. "Daniel is my son, and I didn't want to feel replaced." Samantha nodded, her own defenses lowering. "I never wanted to replace you, Victoria. I just wanted to find my place in this family. I know I'm not perfect, but I've been trying." Victoria's eyes softened. "I see that now. And for what it's worth, I'm glad Daniel has you." Samantha smiled, finally feeling the weight between them lift. "I'm glad too." When Samantha gave birth to their first child, it was Victoria who rushed to the hospital first, tears streaming down her face as she held her grandson. "You're going to be an incredible mother," Victoria said, her voice thick with emotion. "And maybe I'll be a better mother-in-law." Samantha laughed through her own tears. "I think we'll both get the hang of it." In the end, the rivalry that had once defined their relationship gave way to a new understanding. Over time, the two women learned how to be a family, growing closer with each passing day. Through shared love and determination, Samantha and Victoria became not just in-laws, but allies in navigating the complexities of life and family.